Good morning, sir.
Yeah, morning. Okay, in our last class, we discussed about the scope resolution operator, and we found that using this operator, we can, if there is a name clash, or in other words, if there is a same name that is used in the local scope and also in the global scope, then we can use this scope resolution of operator to refer to the global scope. And if I just use the name, it will print the value of the local variable. So this way, I mean, this is used in other cases also. We'll see in this class how this scope resolution operator is used. So as the name suggests, it resolves the conflict in the scope, or if there is an ambiguity in the scope with multiple scopes with the same name, then it can resolve it. So in this class, the focus will be, it will be a very simple one. So the idea is we would like to write the first encapsulated C++ structure or C++ class. So the very first feature of object-oriented languages or object-oriented design is to encapsulate related procedures or functions along with related data. That was the basic motivation to exploit the inherent cohesion between data items as well as the methods on which they operate, right? So we'll see the syntax of it, and we'll take we'll take the reference of the stack class or the example of implementing a stack, because this I think all of you have implemented in C. So let us just review the different methods that it will have and how we gradually shift to the C++ syntax. So in the stack, what will be the data items to implement a stack? What are the data structures? What are the variables that we require?
An array and a top variable.
So array means, as we have already aware of new and delete, so we'll be using we'll be using dynamic allocation. So instead of talking about array, we'll be talking about a pointer to array, right? So let us assume that it will be, we are going to implement integer stack. So in an integer stack, so we have to declare first of all a pointer p of type integer. What else we require? And then this allocation of space will be done by calling new. But what else we require? Any other variables that we require to manipulate stacks?
Top variable.
A top. So top is also an integer type. And what else?
Size.
Size, or you can say max size, or so these are these may be the probable variables, and you can have one more variable also, because this is a max size. So you may also be interested in storing the current stack size. Okay, so the current size also can be there if you require. Okay, so these are probably enough. What are the data items? What are the methods that you require?
Push, pop.
No, prior to that, even before that. So first of all, any data structure need to be so if you just have these data items, as you can see, even the array is also not stored, also not allocated, right? We have just defined a pointer or declared a pointer to that probable array. So first of all, you have to, before you can push and pop, what you need to do?
Create the stack.
Okay, so let us call it as init stack or initialize the stack. So stack as the data structure should be initialized. That means its So the dynamic allocation of the array, and first of all you have to ask that what is the size of the array, the max size, and if it is a 20 or 30 or 10, accordingly new that size you allocate it and assign it to p, and then what is required during the initialization, this top need to be
-1.
to be assigned -1, something that is invalid index. Okay, so these things, and then a max size you set. So you have to set the base address of the array to p, you have to set top to -1, you have to get the read the value of max size, and the current size should be 0. So these things all need to be done in the stack, init stack, right? So, and before you, so if you say create a stack object, say s1, so once it is out of the scope, so that means what, if this is, sorry, just a minute. Okay, sorry. So if this is, so we know that we can have nested scopes and all this. So like this we can create different stack objects. So whenever us, so when do you think it should be initialized? So this is a, so this is, I'm declaring a stack object. Now after declaring the stack object, I would expect it to be initialized, right? So maybe you call the initialize this method somewhere here, init stack. Okay, so like that it will be called, and here also, so init stack is one, and here you have to write init stack is two. I'm coming to the syntax, but what I want to point out here, so as I've initialized, so initialize means, so here you have just created the object, and here you are initializing the members or the data items of that object or the variable, whatever, right? And then once you come out, what we have to do, what do you expect?
We have to delete it, delete the space.
So deallocate the space, because the scope of this S2, try to understand. So the scope of this S2 is only limited within this scope, right? So once the control comes out of this inner parentheses, yeah, inner nesting, so this S2 is no longer required. So if S2 is no longer required, whatever you have allocated dynamically here, probably before you come out, you have to dynamically deallocate, right? So to facilitate that, we require another uh, method, say maybe uh, initialize and uh, delete stack, del stack maybe. Got the point? The purpose of these two.
Yes, sir.
So there, the only thing is you have to free the space that you have allocated, and the rest you can ignore. Okay, so what else you require? So the basic operations of the stack is push and pop. So this you all know. But this push and pop, can you push into a stack if it is already full? The current size is equal to max size?
No, sir.
So what do we need for that? We can have another additional method that will check whether the stack is
Full or no.
is overflow, right? So there can be a method like is overflow. So this push actually calls is overflow, and only if it is not overflowing, it will push the element. And pop at the same time, it will call something like
is underflow.
Is underflow. So we have these two methods to initialize and delete the stack or the dynamic allocated space, the push, which in turn will call is overflow, the pop, which in turn will call is underflow, and what else do you think you'd require? Anything else?
Top of the stack.
Yeah, top of the stack you can always write, I mean, get the top or get the current size. So display stack, right? Something like display stack, the contents you may want to have like that. So the current size, top of the stack, or you may want the current, so that will return the value of the top. Okay, so if I write a C type code to implement this, so you will have, so how to write a C type code for this? I mean, generally what you have done in your last semester.
We put the data members in a struct.
So these data members are actually stored in a struct. So struct. So struct stack like this. Is that fine? Do you all agree? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So this much you do, because in pure C syntax, nothing more is allowed. So even though, as we mentioned, that even though all these methods or functions are related to this, but you cannot put them within the same structure definition if it is a pure C style coding, right? But the only thing is you may not be writing this type def here, so that is redundant. So we'll have some a code something like this. Can you all see this?
Yes, sir.
Is it visible? Okay, so what we have here, you can see these are all the list of function prototypes. So generally in C we do that, we specify the prototypes, and then we have the definition of the stack structure. So the key point to note is there is no type def used here. Still it works. So what I'm writing is C style stack, stack data type, C style implementation. So this is the end of the stack, end of the structure, stack structure, and the definition of all the functions, it will come here, all the prototypes that we have declared. And so here you have the init stack, as you can see, you have the is empty, is full. So they just return, so is empty returns if stop equals to -1, it will return true. So this boolean say operator will return either true or false. Is full means if s dot top, so I write s dot top. So you see this so we have got a local variable, s here. Okay, so this is a structure variable. So top is a member of that, so s dot top, like that we are specifying, and this is s dot top if it is mentioned. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I got a phone call and it got dropped. So this s dot top, and then s dot top, it's s dot size. So this size is actually the max size that we just now mentioned. Okay, so this is simple. And then we have the init stack implementation. So init stack, what it will do? Init stack, it will try to initialize the members of this uh, variable s, the local variable stack variable s, and init x. So x is the max size that we want to have. and then clear stack. Clear stack is basically the deallocation. This is a delete operation. And then the push. So this push actually calls, as you can see, the is full, and if it is not full, only then, if is full is not true, okay, only then it will push it, otherwise it will set stack overflow. And then the pop, it will again call is empty, and if it is not empty, only then it will pop it out and will return that value, otherwise it will say it's a stack underflow. So this is all very simple. And then in the display function, so it is just a display, so the stack object or the stack variable s that I enter, so it will access s dot top I equals to s dot top to 0. It will display each and every element of that stack, and it will have a nice display something like this. Okay, so here we'll try to have something like this in the output display also. So that is what it means. And here what we did here is within the main, so this is a pure C type implementation of the stack, so this is all known to you. So now if I write here stack s1, what is this? It is an instance of the stack, instance of a stack object, or instance of a structure variable, whatever way you would like to mention. And then what I call here init stack. Init stack, how many arguments it is accepting? How many arguments it requires? In line number 34, 2 arguments. So whenever you are trying to create a stack, you have to specify that which particular. So now you see I have got two declarations of the stack variables. One is s1, one is s2. Now this in this line 85, you see I'm trying to initialize which one? This particular s1. The s1 stack I am trying to create and initialize. So I have to pass which particular stack variable or stack object I would like to initialize, and the size, the max size of it, say it is 2. And then I call push. So in the push, each time I call push, I have to pass from which particular stack variable I would like to which particular stack variable I would like to push some integer variable, integer value. So push s1 10, then push s1 20, then display. So the display will display the contents, and again I try to push, because its size is 2, so probably it will give some overflow message here, and then I pop twice, and if I again try to pop, hopefully I would expect a underflow message. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
So all you are trying to do, you are creating a stack object or stack variable, structure variable, and you are writing suitable methods which will take that a particular stack object and some other parameters which will be used to perform some operations on that particular stack object. So if I would like to do work on this stack object s2, so I'll pass that s2 and s3 like that. So that is how it works. So what is the drawback or limitation of this? What are the drawbacks of this approach? Although we have already discussed many a times, but can you be specific? So first thing is the inherent cohesion or the relation between these data items as well as these methods cannot be exploited. We cannot put them together even though they are related. So these methods only operate on these kind of variables, right? But you cannot put them together if it is a C structure or C style. There is no encapsulation of functions or methods, related functions or methods is possible. What other thing is a problem? Hello? What is the other disadvantage of the C style coding? or to be specific, procedure oriented coding? Hello? Am I still connected? Hello?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is the other problem? That too we have discussed. So you see, I mean, the first thing is,
Yes.
so the thing is, struct stack, that's fine. So the first thing is, you probably would like to have all the data items all here. But you would also like to have init stack, then delete stack, all the details, then pop, then push, okay, then is empty, is full, and what else? Display. Okay. So I mean, all the entire body, everything to be inside. So that is what encapsulation means. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
What is the problem? So that is what encapsulation means. Now the thing is, once I write it like this, if it is a structure, what does it mean?
Everything is
From the
public.
main. So in C++, we know that. So these are data members. You say data members. And what are these? These are member methods.
Function.
Member functions or member methods, right? Now, in a structure, in a C++ structure, if you say, so if you do not specify, so you have the provision to use the keywords public, private, protected, right? Can you recall those? That means you can tag each of these, each of these you can tag either as public, protected, or private. Now in structure, if you do not specify anything, it will be treated as by default
Public.
the default is public, right? That means default is public. That means if I write stack s1, now because they are all part of this structure to x, now so there is a subtle change in the syntax. Now this s1, if it wants to access this pop, what should it do? Or say init stack, what it should do? Because now these are member methods. So as s1 earlier wrote s1 dot top, right? Because these are also members, these are also members. So how members are accessed using using a variable, using an instance of this structure is dot top. So similarly, to access this init stack, what it should write? The init
S1
stack
dot
method
init
of
stack.
s1, you should write init stack. Is that fine? Because all are members. These are also members, these are also members. These are member data, these are member methods, but all are members, right? So if this is an instance of this structure type, stack structure type, so this instance or this object, if it wants to access either p or top or size, it has to use the dot operator, okay? And for invoking these methods also, it has to use the dot operator. And because they are all treated as default is public, it can access any of them. S1 dot is empty also, it can be accessed. And not only that, s1 dot top plus plus, it can modify it also. Are you getting the problem? So my question is, do you want this to be done at random? Do you want the top of the stack to be updated or I mean decremented or incremented without an element getting pushed or popped out?
No, sir.
So this is completely prohibited because that does not make any sense. It will create all the garbage, right? So do you expect so somebody from outside the stack, so this is the stack definition. So this S1 is just an object. So that object, do you expect that object to directly access the top and so that it can update or decrement, increment? So do you will you allow this?
No, sir.
So you would like to prohibit this, or you would like to restrict this, right? And how to restrict it? Only if we tag it as private, right? Because this is unwanted and you may not do it, but accidentally or maybe unintentionally if you do it, it will create damage to the data structure, because top should be incremented before pushing, it should be decremented after popping, right? So to ensure proper access and suitable access, we may not allow all these members to be visible from outside. So now it is everything outside. Okay, so you have left everything in your courtyard. So all of your neighbors who are outside of your family, they can all access it, they can all see it like that. But if I would like to protect something, so you will obviously not put your almirah or locker in the courtyard because you want to hide it from others or anything else, something like this, right? So selectively, not only I encapsulate, but now I have the power or I have the facility to tag some of them as public or private. So what do you think should be the best way of tagging? So which one should be tagged as public? Which one should be tagged as private? So red ones, let it be, so the red ones or maybe the black ones, let it be private. So which one do you think you don't want to share with others? Because from the outside, it is not required to directly access it. First of all, let's come to the init stack and delete stack. So these two methods, do you want it to be private or public?
Public.
Because once once you have created this stack, the first operation that you require is s1.stack, right? Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
And that need to be done from the main. So if you do not make it public, you cannot really work. Del stack also should be public because you have to deallocate the space once it is done, and that need to be done outside. What about push and pop? These two also, because these are the operations that is mandatory. What about display? That is also sometimes you require. What about is overflow and is underflow?
Private.
So think of it. I mean, it is up to you. You may want to make it public. If you want to make it public, it is fine. It's just checking the status and nothing more. But do you really want that? So do you really want to make it public? So is overflow, is it actually required until unless you require pushing elements?
No, sir.
So if you make it public, there is probably no harm as such, but there is no point of sharing it unnecessarily also. So I just tag it as private. So private means I just, so it is there inside, but it is not required for the others to know what is there, how it is done. So I just hide the unnecessary details of an implementation from the public. Okay, from the public interface. There are two reasons. One is you don't want, say, maybe this, and what about these data items? Which one you would like to make it private? Don't want others to directly access from outside. Top, do you want top to be accessed?
No, sir.
Because unnecessary damage can be done. Do you want this, the P contains the base address? If you know the base address, you can get into that location and you can modify. So the contents of the stack may be modified if you know the value of p. So this also need to be, probably we would tag it as private, right? It is up to you. It is a designer's choice, but the choice should be made keeping in mind few things. What about the current size? What about the current size?
Private.
The current size, do you want to, I mean, even if you make it public, is there any problem? Even if you modify, but the current size will be, because your push and pop is not at all using current size probably. If it is not so, so you can probably make it, public, right? It is up to you. So let it be visible to others, because even if somebody changes it, the top remains unchanged and the max size remains unchanged. So that way no harm can be done. Okay. So this max size also make it as private, because if this changes, then you are trying to, sometimes you may your is overflow, that method will not work. So got this point? So which one we would make private and which one? So all these will be made. These will be made
Public.
So these will be made public, and this will be made private. Okay, is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Now this is up to you. I mean, there is no harm if you make these two also public, but definitely it will be dangerous if you make either p or top also public. So it's up to you. And it is also dangerous if you actually make these two as private, init and del stack, because if you make init stack private, then you cannot initialize and you cannot proceed further, because without initializing you cannot call push and pop. So the whole thing gets, it becomes a problem. One thing you can do, you can make probably this display stack as private and allow it to be called after pushing. So after you have pushed, you call display stack and show the user that it has been pushed successfully. So that you can do if you want. Okay, so this is entirely yeah, the choice of the designer, which of these need to be made private or public and all this. So once this is done, that the choice is done, so then we can have something like this. Can you see the syntax? So stack data type in a C++ class in a class style. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So can you see the change? So first change is I have used the keywords class here. Okay, and then class tag. And what I have done, you can see. So the definition starts here, and you see this parenthesis, starting parenthesis ends here. This is the end of the class. Can you see this? So now within this yellow, everything has been uh, encapsulated. So the structure or the class or the structure definition starts here in line number 9 and it ends at line number 72. Can all of you see that? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now it has encapsulated. So this is what encapsulated. It encapsulated everything that is related. So now first we have the member data listed. I mean, it is not mandatory that you have to put it all in the top. It's not mandatory, but for readability purpose, it's better we put in one place, and then followed the member methods. What are the member methods? Now this is empty, is full. These are labeled as private. I use the keyword private. So the keyword private, once it is tagged, so anything that follows becomes private. How long? Till I change it to public. Is that fine? So just write private and colon and public and colon, that's all. So this public tag holds true for init stack, clear stack, push, pop, and display. Till you further change, the public tagging holds true for all the members that you list beyond that. Is that syntax fine?
Yes, sir.
So now it is all, so the rest of the things are very simple. You have just, so what I did is actually I have copied all these and I have put them to inside. But the only change, can you see the change in the interface? Can you see the change in the interface? So push, earlier in the C style, how many arguments were there in push?
2.
See, there are 2 arguments. In the pop, how many arguments?
1.
So this is a mistake here. No, it should be, okay, there is a mistake here. Sorry, no, it is 1 is fine. The pasta. Yeah, so this is 1, right? So this is 1, this is 2. In case of init stack, there is 2, like that. So if you have any data variable, any element to be stored or this thing, so you have to pass it. Apart from that, the structure variable need to be passed. But now, because they are all encapsulated, the structure variable which actually calls that member function should be here. So as you can see, instead of writing init stack s1.2, here you focus on the line number 72. Instead of writing init stack s1.2, now I write s1.init stack 2. That means this init stack is now acting as a member method which can be invoked by s1 dot that method name. If I would like to call the init stack for initializing s2, I should write s2.init stack or s3.init stack, like that. So that is the only subtle change. So if you want to convert your C style structure to C++ style, first thing is you bring all them together within the same parentheses, and then you try to remove the variable, the structure variable, that argument you remove from all of the member, all of the related methods. Got the change? Is that part clear?
Yes, sir.
Any question till this point? Those who are doing C++ for the first time, is there anything that you don't accept and you don't understand? These are all the basic syntax. Now how it is done internally, that we'll discuss sometime later. But is syntactically, is this fine?
Yes, sir.
So now, so once these are done, then you see I write stack s1, same as this. Stack s1 is same as this. You see here also write stack s1 in C, and in C++ style also I write stack s1. So both are same. Now the only change is, if I write s1 to initialize the s1 stack, I write s1.init stack, because now init stack is a member method and any members can be invoked using dot operator, right? And then I have to pass. So the same thing I'm doing, s1.init stack 2, s1.push, s1.push, s1.display, s1.push, like that. So is that fine? Now if I write s1.n, what is n? What is this n? What is the purpose?
Current size.
Probably the current size. I'm trying to use it in different name. So s1.n, if I try to access here, will it be allowed?
Yes, sir.
Why?
So it is public.
It is public.
It is public. So you can write s1.n. But if I write s1, so if I write here s1.top, will it work?
No, sir.
If I write s1.top, then it will be error message. So this cannot be done, because this top has been tagged as private. So that means this within the main, when what you are trying, it is like you are the outsider. So being an outsider, you are trying to access some private property of this structure, privately declared members of the structure, and that is not allowed. But who can access this top? Although it is private, you see, its own members can use. What I mean, so these member methods, you can say these are the family members. So this is the mother, the father, the uncle, and all this. So these are the family members. Okay, so these are the, say, the family members, and these are the properties that they have. Like there is a locker, there is a bike, there is a car, and all this. So all this. So no matter whether these properties are private or public, or those commodities are private or public, any members of the family can use it. Okay, you see, the top can be accessed and modified by init stack. Top can be also modified by the push pop or whatever. In fact, the is empty, is full. So any of the members, maybe it is private or public, they can access freely these private member data, but those private member data cannot be accessed from outside. So outside is main, is a separate function. Main is not a part of it. So because of that, so this main function within it cannot access any of the private members of that stack definition, or private data or methods. Is that fine? So if again at the same time, if you write here s1 dot is empty, also it will not work. That's the case. Is that fine up to this?
Yes, sir.
So syntactically, is that okay? So what we introduced here? So what we introduced here, access specifiers, it has been introduced, and also encapsulation. These two features are introduced in this C++ style class definition. Everything remains same. Your organization of the, your conceptual interface and all this, the number of say methods or functions, everything remains same. The only thing is you have put them inside, encapsulated them, and you have additionally you have tagged them explicitly, either private or public. That's all. To avoid any kind of confusion, or you don't rely on the default whatever it is, right? So that is the case. So this is a design issue. So first of all, you have to find out how many methods I should be writing for this, for implementing this class. How many member data should I have? Which of them I should be tagging as private and public? So once this part is clear to you, then you start implementing, and you make sure that within the main you really cannot access private members, either data or method. Okay, so up to this it is fine. Now can you see that so is there any question? Any question till this point? Okay, so let us assume that there is a structure. Okay, so what if I replace this keyword class by struct?
It will be the same.
All others, are you also convinced? Class
Yes, sir.
may be replaced as struct. Why? Because you have already explicitly tagged them as private public, so it doesn't really matter at all. Okay, so the keyword class or struct are both the same in this particular context, because we have made them everything explicit. They have a default, the default case is different. Class treats everything as private, struct treats everything as public, but you have done it explicitly, so it doesn't really matter. But it is always it is expected, because you are writing C++ code, and class is a more C++ or object-oriented terminology, you would be it is expected that you will use class, object, and all these terminologies instead of structure, variable, and all this, right? So just last one simple point. So struct this. So let us assume that we have got say few, say int a, then float f, something like this, and let us make it as public. It doesn't matter. Okay, and then we have got some other private data members, or say private data members, say character c, and then we have got public methods, say f1, this goes on like this, then f2, this goes on like this, then f3, then f4, then f5, then f6, and so on, and here it ends. Can you see this? Can you see this syntax?
Yes, sir.
So what if there are, so total say 150 methods, and each comprises of say 10-20 lines. So if you start a structured definition here, what do you think, and in which line it should end? Hmm?
3000.
3000. Now you know what is going to happen. So you have to scroll down all the 3000 lines to see that whether it is done or not. How to get rid of it? Are you getting the basic problem of managing the code? It's not logical anything. So it's basically syntactically it will be difficult to manage. So every time you have to scroll down and up and all this. Or in other words, if I would like to read your structured definition, okay, so I mean I have to scroll down 3000 lines to know that how many functions or methods are there. What is the basic interface? Interface means these methods, these public methods actually create you the interface, right? That is what interface means, through which you can access that particular object. If it is public, only then through which you, by calling that, you can access. So if I would like to know the interface, that how many methods through which I can interact, so you have to scroll down 3000 lines. Is it really good?
No, sir.
So what is the alternative for this? This is the alternative. Can you see this? Now here again the scope resolution operator helps us in resolving the problem. Can you see this? Everything remains same. Can you see what change we have done here? From
Yes,
line
sir.
number 8 to 28. Focus on line number 8 to 28. The class definition starts in line number 8 and it ends at line number 28. It's so compact. What we have done?
We are only declaring the member functions inside the
We are
class.
declaring the prototypes only. Okay? We are declaring the prototype of the interfaces and tagging as private public. So this is just like prototype declaration, something similar to this one. Is that okay? In the top, can you see from line number 7 to 15? Something similar to that in the C style. Prototype declaration. So here too you go for prototype declaration here. Okay, and provide the definitions later on. So when you try to define the details of is empty, how do you specify whose is empty is there? So you have got a class XX which has got some function named f1, and we have got a class YY also which has also got a function named f1. Is that possible? Is it allowed?
Yes, sir.
There are two classes XX, YY, but both they have defined a member method name as f1. It is possible. There is no clash because it is within its scope and it is within its scope. It's fine. But now you are interested in specifying the prototypes and you are going to declare, you want to provide the definition of this f1 after this, Okay. So now if you would like to specify the details of the define f1 of xx, what should you write? What should you write?
XX scope resolution F1.
So it is simple, xx scope f1, and write whatever you want, right? That is very simple. So if f1 in the scope of xx, then to declare to define the details of f1 of this, you write yy f1 this and write the details of it. That means I'm trying to define f1 which is within the scope of yy. Is that okay? So now you have got this syntax. You can see is empty. You cannot just define it like this. If you leave it just is empty, it will be a conflict. So the compiler will start shouting. So if you have to say that stack scope resolution. So is empty, which is a part of this stack structure or stack class. I'm trying to define the details here. So each and every, so is full, which is a part of stack class, like that. So at this point I have defined all the member methods outside the original class definition, so there is no problem. So if you would like to know the interface through which you can operate on that object, it's just starts from line 9 till 28. So it is within 20 lines you get an overall idea. But if you would like to know the details of how it is working, you can always switch to this part and know the details. But the rest of the syntax of calling the methods will all be the same. So it is more readable and more compact, and this is also recommended. Is that okay? I think we are running short of time. So is that fine?
Yes, sir.
So any questions till this point? So this is the summary. So this is a summary. Can you see this in the top in line number 8? This struct, the keyword struct. So instead of class, if you write struct, doesn't really matter. Everything remains unchanged. So that's we say that class or struct is the same in C++. Just to remember, in class the default is private. In structure the default is public. But if you make everything explicit, it hardly matters. But the recommendation is you should always give a compact, the entire interface should be, or the definition should be only including the prototypes, and the details of the prototypes or the functions should follow after the function class definition is over, using the scope resolution operator. That is recommended. Is that okay? So I'll share these codes. So the next class will be on creating objects. So we'll look into some additional features which will be again very useful. Somebody was waiting, I don't know. So any questions?
Sir, share the PPTs.
Yes, I'll share the PPT. I'll share the. So if I forget, so you can just ping me. You write a mail, or Tishman or Vamsi or other CR.
Okay, sir.
It will have. I think one more class content is also there.